We cuttin' loose.
You ain't about your business. You ain't cause we winning.
I cut loose, that's what I do. You should too, but it's on you. I cut loose when the mic's in my hand, man. Got 11 face on in case might be permanently.
You know, and so the show was a success. The guy who hired me, the warden, he came to me and he shook my hand in front of everyone. And he was like, man, you know, I was worried, you know, and as you can see, I was worried, you know. But I also trusted you. That's why I invited all these people from, you know.
And was he visible and present during the whole show? Like,
yes,
did you see
yes.
him on the rafters?
I saw him.
Back?
He was front center.
Oh,
he
wow.
put himself front center, by the way. I forgot. I didn't, you know, but
he's a gangster.
Yeah, he definitely is. Shout out to Warden Williams. He definitely was. You know what I'm saying? What he believed was, if you guys got that freedom, let them have it. You know what I'm saying? It's not fair that you have 3 rock bands and there's no hip hop and R&B. This is their music. You know what I'm saying? This is what they listen to. This is who they are. You know? And at the time, they didn't even have radios. They had this like AM radio, AFM radio, and you had to like hold that thing up in certain ways just to hear it nicely. You know what I mean?
Right. Put it in the corner with the thinnest walls.
It's crazy. You know, it's crazy. So, you know, that was so he acknowledged it, you know, and then from there it went on to become a great program. And it still is, you know what I'm saying? It's still to this day an amazing program. People are using it. Excuse me. I get calls and texts from them telling me, man, you know, we're doing this and we're doing that, and it's amazing. You know what I mean? It's amazing to see some of the guys that are still there from when I was doing it. You know what I'm saying? The lifers that are now like the superstars in there, whatever. Listen, I'm not saying that it's something to be proud about. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying it's kind of funny how, you know, I thought it was over, and here I go and start a chapter for other people in there. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I was supposed to be in there to do that, and then boom, my job was done. You know what I mean? Because there was a lot of men that now started performing. You know, even when I was there, I would see them come and try out for the bands and pick out instruments, because they were donating instruments so much that people would not be able to check them out and practice and play them.
That's impact.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So you had people that only had a year or two.
Yeah.
Let me get that guitar. In 2 years.
We didn't have that where I went to school.
Yeah.
Like we had one instrument that we had to share.
They had everything. They could check out a whole drum kit. They could check it out.
And
they
I
created
think
a
the bass
whole,
and everything, they had all of that.
Everything. They created a whole other room for people to practice in.
That's crazy. That's impact, man.
Yes.
Because you
know what I'm
guys
saying?
started that, and
Yes.
it's still.
But
it just
to
you know, to me, that's just what, you know, God put on your life to do. So regardless of what situation you end up doing exactly what He put on you, you know, you in this earth to do.
That's right.
Yeah. You locked up and you still doing it.
That's
know?
right.
So that's what I mean. Like, even in our gift as a stand-up, you know, whether we do it on stage or not is our choice.
That's right.
But, you know, if we be in a regular job, we being funny.
That's right.
You can't help it. This is what God put you on this earth to do. So that's exactly your testament of that. I mean, you're a leader in the game. You know?
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's how you got to look at it. You're a leader.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And who's to say if that warden would ever integrate with the other prisoners and find something that he found in you that would start that?
Yes.
Because if he was new to that situation, he was trying to change something.
Yes.
But who knows if he would find the opportunity without you being there.
Yes. That was exact. Thank you. That's definitely awesome. You know, I wish I could say that it ends there. You know, I wish I could say that this is it. That this great, incredible program was the success of the story, and everything was perfect. But there is one part of the story that I have not been able to tell for 10 years. Okay.
Are you able to tell it today?
Yes, I'm going to tell it right now, and I'm going to share it with us, and just us and whoever's watching here today. And when this gets out, I want them to get the credit for being here with me and sharing with me in this news, because, you know, it's terrible that we live in a society that's so hypocritical.
Mm.
You know, and right, I just think it's terrible. You know, and I think that, you know, to try to do things in front of us, knowing that it's happening, and then tell us that it's not happening. You know, it's like this is over. You know, and I always say that the one thing that I learned from that place was that it woke me up from the facade of reality. You know what I'm saying? It took away this veil of fantasy world. You know what I'm saying? So I don't believe in all the storylines and all the beauties of what was written or what it should be or how it should be. You know what I'm saying? And even I had to go deeply into my Christianity and find my religion and not religion, find my relationship with God directly. You know what I'm saying? Because I could not allow what man has tainted, you know what I'm saying, and all the different varieties of input that have come and kind of confused society in many ways. So I wish it could end there, but it don't. I had about 3 years to left on my sentence, and they had a coveted position in the back gate. So if anybody knows how prisons in Florida, most of them are, specifically this one, they're built like an empire. They're built in
with a full caste system.
Yes, it's built in a way that you would need a Trojan horse to get them. You know what I mean? To find a way to get into, to trick them, to catch them while they're sleeping. You know what I'm saying? You're going to need a trick, a way to get them. They have these towers that can see for about 4 miles away. And they got their best trained officers. Not the jelly roll bastards that we get. They got these snipers up there. Yeah. You know, they're doing their job. You know what I mean? They're making sure that whoever's coming to this institution, we're aware of that. We know they're coming. We're ready for them, you know? So the job was the back gate. So the problem with the back gate is that, you know, the guy had been there almost 17 years. So, yeah, this guy was trusted. And by trusted, I mean he was blessed. Because, remember what I said, you got to give them something to get something. You know what I'm saying? They're going to give you something. And you're going to feel like, oh, this is the best thing ever. You know, like that mentality. Like, yeah, yes, sir. Whatever you give me, I'm taking it. You know what I'm saying? Shit. Here's a leftover biscuit for you. Oh, man, that's awesome. Yes, give me more. Whatever I got to do to get more. That's the mentality that they teach you. You know what I'm saying? So you become priceless, or you become bought at a cheap rate, you know? And modern day slavery in this, it happens, man. Like it happens, you know? It's part of what they do, you know? I was in a crew of 25 to 30 people, and they would take us to specific people's houses and allow us to do their whole gardening, clean up their sheds.
Wow.
Clean up their
wait, like so pull you fully out of the prison property.
Yeah. Just
like 2 miles away on their house.
And very slickly, we would be wearing jeans and a white shirt, so we would not look like prisoners.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know. So we were doing jobs for them for peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Right. $60 an hour labor for a sandwich.
While they were getting countless things done. You know, we would be, you know, I learned how to, remodel houses, how to paint inside the houses, how to create walls, how to, you know, I learned all the things that they wanted me to learn so that I can be, you know, important for them. You know what I'm saying? A useful tool.
Yeah.
Because if you want to eat better, if you want to live better, you have to do better. You see what I'm saying? That's the mentality they had. So this guy obviously he was heavy in it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever they gave him, he loved it. You know what I mean? So they came to me with it, and they were like, we want you to do it because of the situation with the warden. Now, the warden had it where, and I was a knucklehead, you know what I'm saying? I was always getting in trouble, fighting, whatever. And every time they would let me out the box because of him. He would call and be like, get him out of there. You know what I'm saying? He needs to be practicing, blah, 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 blah. So it was, it was because, and he would tell me, he's like, man, get your act together, and I didn't, again, it was a war of the inside with me, with music, my career, and those things, right? So they forced the job on me, basically, and they said, you're going to take it, we trust you, we know, you're good, you're not, whatever you see back there, all right, cool. So I took the job. Obviously, they give us street food for lunch, street food for dinner. You're there from, we were there from 7 a.m. to 8 o'clock at night, so, basically doing everything, just unloading, cleaning vans, cleaning buses, doing this, doing that, pumping gas for people who came from all over the state, their families, their cousins would come and get free gas from the state, and blame it on the state and saying that it was sometimes they didn't even take like measures of this gas. They were just you know what I'm saying? So these people they have a system, they had a great system. The thing is that, like I said, at this point now they had interjected the kids and the adults. So now they had made it legal for the kids to be housed with the adults in prison. Obviously separated by a gate, simple gate. But they were able to share in the yard and all these things, the festivities, like normal people.
And when you say kids, like how old?
So they would be from 14 all the way up.
Okay, so just legally tried as adult, but
but transferred
still
over.
children.
Yeah, still kids, man.
Yeah.
Still kids,
Juvenile.
like babies, man. You look at them, you're like, this is my little cousin or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. So, this is when things got tricky. So every Tuesday they would bring a bus with the kids, and the thing is that their mindset was that these kids are the bottom of the barrel. These kids are dumb as, the only way they're gonna learn is this way. They will unload these kids and put them into this room, and this room was created just for them. It was a room that was created that you would open the front doors, and they would walk in, and they would literally fall into these crevices of wall that was created, kind of like a coffin, big enough where they could kind of like move around and kind of avoid getting hit. And then those same ninjas that they had on the tower, the big boys, about 17 of them would come. You hear them stomping, wearing black, and they'd beat the hell out of these kids.
Wow.
On American soil, on the United States soil. And I mean bloody.
Wow.
These are kids. Yes, tried as an adult. I get it. But they're still kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're still somebody's kid.
Yeah.
Where's the mercy? We're paying these people to protect these kids. And you're beating them to sleep.
Wow.
I would clean pieces of head off the wall. Head. You ever seen a piece of head?
That's crazy.
Skin on it? White meat? Your cousin. You could hear the screams. That's what I still hear. I still hear it. The screams. Nobody's ever talked about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've never heard anything adjacent to
Of course not.
this level of prison story.
Oh, yeah. This is why I want y'all to have it.
Yeah.
I want him to have it.
Right. Wow.
Your kids, somebody's kids out there. I'm talking to you out there in Florida. Your kids beaten by your state.
Funded by taxpayer money. Yeah.
Beaten. Exactly. We're paying for this. You're paying for this. Their way of teaching them discipline was to show them who was boss first. Now, mind you, these kids came directly from their
county
holding center. Yeah, who mentally does nothing to prepare them. Nothing, absolutely nothing. They don't go to a psychiatric evaluation. They don't do any of that till they hit prison grounds, okay? But they have to get to prison grounds to do that. The first place they went to is that tomb.
So they're getting indoctrinated before they even.
Yes.
They don't even know where they're sleeping.
They don't know. They have no idea. 15-year-old kid made a mistake. I get it, man. I get it. Wow, these kids are halfway retarded, and I mean that in the nicest way. And chime in, guys. I don't want to keep it sad.
No, you good.
They're not retarded. They're well polymath.
You good.
But you know, like I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are kids.
Yeah. No, it's terrible. I mean, hearing you tell the story breaks my heart. I can only imagine what it must have been like experiencing.
I was sick because they had.
Bro, let me tell you the crazy part about it. They arrest the parent now.
Yeah.
For disciplining the child.
Yeah.
And they send in prison, beating them.
It's like, oh, you didn't get the right
bloody
discipline.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's. I'm glad you're talking about it.
And presumably,
well, I had to wait because I was threatened on the way out. But we'll talk about that.
Oh,
later.
it's cool.
I had to wait. That's why I waited. They
knew.
knew.
Can you go into the threats you received about talking?
Yeah,
about
I'll get.
Hold
I'll
on, let
yeah.
him finish.
sorry.
Yeah, I'm
finish-
definitely gonna
finish
get
the
it.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was the screams. You know what I'm saying? The screams were the worst. You know what I'm saying? Because you heard. I started learning what I could tell what race kid was crying or yelling.
Boy.
I could tell if it was a little black kid. I could tell if it was a white kid.
How could you tell?
They're yelling the things that they would
They asked
yell.
for the manager. I'm sorry. That was horrible. That was horrible.
Yeah, white definitely asked for a manager.
That was horrible. I apologize.
Spanish was
We're
like,
cutting loose. I apologize.
Spanish was like, and then black was like, all right now, man.
I get it. Yeah, I get it, guys.
You know, it was a white kid because every time they beat him up, he's like, "Do you know who my father is?"
I'll have your ass, pal.
You better scram, buddy.
What's your badge number?
What's your badge number?
Wait till my lawyer hears about
So
this.
let me
so
ask
sorry.
you
This
this.
is
All
I
right.
haven't got my one call yet.
All right. So
Wow.
this is just in one prison, or this is going on everywhere?
Okay. I was in 3 different ones throughout my whole thing, and all 3 of them had their own different war, which is crazy. One of them had a gang war, so it was ran by gangs, and they tolerated that because of the money. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, of course, you know, I'm not gonna knock nobody's hustle, so I'll keep away from that one. But the thing is that you know, I worry about the people who are there, who were like me. You know what I'm saying? Who said, "Yo, I have to get back to my family." You know what I'm saying? Like, I worry about them. You know what I'm saying? I worry about the kid who made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? And probably shot that gun or you know, and thought it was cool to do it because he heard it on the song or whatever. And now he's sitting here with a life sentence. You know what I'm saying? He's 15, about to go meet up with somebody like Buddy Rowe. You know what I'm saying? I worry about them because we pay for that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We get held accountable. Jeffrey said it. We get held accountable when we do something wrong.
Yeah.
Why can't we hold them accountable?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How is it that on American soil, you know what I'm saying, at this very time, you are abusing these men. You know what I'm saying? You are abusing them mentally, physically. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when are we gonna start saying, yo, they're still human beings? If we can see that a lot of the things that we now know didn't work and were not supposed to work, and we should have never used those practices, why can't we turn our eye to that as well?
Mm-hmm.
You know, why can't we see that we can probably fix society in many ways by bringing some of those men who have, you know what I'm saying, the knowledge to talk about this and tell them, hey, you know, you got like guys like the band members who can play incredible instruments. Give them a chance to go out and play their music. You know what I'm saying? Give them an option. Hey, you've been doing good for 20 years. You're good. You know what I'm saying? It looks like you're a hell of a lot older. You know what I'm saying? You don't seem like you're going to be a threat to society anymore. And what if I can get you into a job playing the instrument? You know what I'm saying? Would you consider that? Yes. I'll get it for you at a lower rate. You know what I'm saying? So you can pay back society a certain way. You know what I'm saying? I'll let you free. You give me something and you get the job you want. What do you think?
Yeah. That's real rehabilitation. Like,
yes, that's the way you're supposed to help this man.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there's no one who would choose the alternative.
Yes.
To even a fresh start, something they don't associate with or they don't have a community with. If you tell someone you can go be a janitor, they want that life.
Yeah. Because it's noble. You're earning your living and you're, you know, living in your own terms.
Yes.
People want that at the end of the day.
And at the smallest level, helping society.
Yeah.
Music helps everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, and that is you're saying it perfectly. You know what I'm saying? Give me, you know, you give me a ray of light, I'm going to take it. You know, like, I'm going to see the sunlight for the first time and just let me get it. You know what I mean? Let me get it. You know, some of those guys deserve that opportunity.
Yeah.
But what they're doing now is, and this is where it starts with these kids, you're now controlling them when they're younger. You know what I'm saying? You're now aiming at our children because I told them I can't work back here. You know what I'm saying? I'm done with this. You know, I can't go to sleep. I can't think about this. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't listen, you know? So what happened was now I started getting pressured for things that I was usually allowed to do, you know? And I got put back in the box. I got put in the jail, you know what I mean? Because they realized, oh, man, this guy.
Right.
Free thinker.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's not who we thought he was. You know what I'm saying? He actually cares about it, you know?
Yeah.
And things got hard, you know what I'm saying? My last couple of years. I mean, they came at me with everything. You know, they put me in a box for 3 months. You know what I'm saying? A single cell.
Just because you made that decision.
Just because I said I'm not going to be a part of that craziness. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever you guys got going on, no. And I would write letters. They never made it out.
Oh, that's crazy.
You know what I mean?
And just for being a conscious objector to the situation, or do you actually like put pressure on them?
Just for saying I don't want to be involved. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you guys are doing it. That's y'all business. You know what I'm saying? I didn't ask for this. Y'all threw me in this. You know what I'm saying? And because you threw me in this, I wasn't prepared to see what I saw. Yeah. I wasn't that type of broken that you think that I would be like, oh, this is something that you will accept. No. You know what I'm saying? No, I raised 5 brothers. You know what I'm saying? So to see them, to see that, so they did is they put me in confinement, and then in confinement to mess with my head, they made me a barber to the teenagers. Now I don't cut hair. I've never cut hair in my life. I don't know what that is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Those 4 kids.
But they did that. Why did they do that?
Right. Just to get to
so you'd have to see their faces.
Exactly.
Recognize their voice.
Exactly. But also, I would have to relive the wounds because that's where they go after medical from the beatdown.
To get a haircut?
Yes. So
that's crazy.
I would watch. I remember talking to a 15-year-old with 2 life sentences. 2 life sentences, 15 years old. He had a slice from his face, from his ear, all the way across to the other side
Wow, bro.
of his mouth. A wound open, basically, just a happy face right here, his mouth, and another happy face right here.
Mm.
So I asked him, I was like, hey, man, tears coming down my eyes. I was like, you know, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? You're young. Yeah, why? I don't know, man. I don't. He had no answer. Why? Because he has no input in his brain.
Yeah, TikTok will tell you who's going to be a criminal before your parents can.
There you go.
Did he tell you how he
Their
got those
input,
scars?
huh?
Did he say how he got?
He got
those
he
scars?
got in a fight with his cellmate, and they went at it. And you know, in there they get at that time they still had the razors, so they would take the razor, melt the toothbrush, clip them together, and then it became your weapon of choice. And those razors are pretty sharp.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So their method of fighting is in a cell one by one. So one would get on that side and get on that side, and basically is like a gentleman's quarrel. You know, you go first, I go first. Whoever gets it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
The lacerations continue until you give up. You know, until that's it. Because you're not gonna stop until one of you gives up, and that is the problem with those places. You know what I'm saying? There is no kind of like coaching. You know what I'm saying? I coach football too. You know what I'm saying? So in coaching, let's look at it like this. If there was a fight, and there was a fight one time in one of my tournaments, and there was a gigantic fight, and they left the fight for us to deal with. There was no security. There was nothing. You know what I mean? It's the same thing in there. You really think 4 or 5 of these bad-bodied, unhealthy, smoking, everything they smoke, Camels, whatever they smoke, can stop a fully grown 6'7", 325 muscled man? No.
Yeah, their job is to drag them away after.
Yeah, they can't. It's a mental thing.
Right.
If all those men were to say, you know what, I'm tired of this, let's go, there wouldn't be enough to stop them. Not one of those places. Definitely the other 3 that I was there. They would need Coast Guard and all kinds of stuff to come to stop these guys. But it's a mental thing. They mentally break them so bad. Imagine starting doing that to our youth now. We are not going to have a future.
Yeah.
We're not going to have a future.
Yeah.
64% is African American. It doesn't leave much for the other side.
Yeah.
What's that telling you? They're packing them. In Seminole County, I was in a cell with 12 other people. In a cell for 6 people. How does that work? Where's all this money going?
Right.
Where's
Free
all
gas.
this money going? Yeah. Where's the money going? But you're beating our kids, abusing them. You know what I mean? So I told him no. So to wrap up the story, I told him no. Not doing that. So I remember they put me in a box, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna wrap the story up like that because I feel like I left what I needed to say, which was what's happening down there. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna wrap the story up this way. Every Friday, and I hope it's still happening. Every Friday, Showtime at the Apollo would come on in prison, and it was the only time that everybody got together. Whites, black, Aryans, everybody. It was weird. I'm telling you, it was the weirdest thing. If there was a camera to record this, you would be like, everything I just said made no sense to what you're seeing. Humans. Take away all that BS that they fed us. And what you get is humans. Just being humans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just being human. So they're watching this TV up there. You know, the show's going on. And you guys seen the show, right? So,
Yeah.
So they're booing. Everybody's booing. So they're booing in the audience here. They're booing in the hallway. Everybody, even some of the guards would come out and watch it. It was crazy. It was like an hour and a half of peace, music. They would make coffee. They would all share. Sometimes they'll take the table and they'll create this gigantic meal out of soups and tuna, and everybody will share. You know what I'm saying? And like some of the OGs wouldn't have money, so they'll go, come on, Pops, go get some food. They'll bring the OGs and Pops. They ain't had nothing to eat in 2 or 3 days.
It's community.
They tearing up them crackers. You know what I mean? They're surviving. You know, they invite the Aryans, and everybody would eat. You know what I'm saying? And in return, the week after that, the Aryans would do it for them, and that's how they would show a harmony around as men.
Yeah.
Might not agree with your views, but as a man, I can shake your hand and say, "Let's eat something, man."
Right.
Because they're not feeding us.
Right.
They're not feeding these men, by the way. They not. They found the cheapest, most nastiest, most disgusting.
Let me stop you right there. Arby's is not that bad. All right. Arby's is underrated, man.
We got the meats.
Vegan meat to feed these people. It would stink. It was eating like, and it was like you would get one of those, a piece, 2 pieces of bread, some peas, and a apple and an apple cut, 1/2 of an apple cut. That's your meal for a 300-pound man, by the way. Where's all this money going? Where is all this money going?
Right.
300-pound men would cry after eating that. I would look at George, Big George, coolest man in the world, 300 pounds, man. But George couldn't lose weight. He had a thyroid problem. You know what I'm saying? They didn't care. They just kept George on the bed. George would do all sorts of things to get an extra tray. You know what I mean? And bag. And people would take care of him, look out for him. Because, again, the brother man next to you would be like, I know what it's like because you're going through it. I'm going through it. We know.
Yeah.
So they would share, and we'd watch that show. Anyways, I would stand by the water fountain and watch the show and look up and always watch it. And imagine myself one day on there. I would say, one day I'm going to be up there. And I would tell myself that. And, you know, you get things in there. And I was a knucklehead. And then I blazed one time in there. I was really, really out there. And they knew I was an artist. So it wasn't like I was not, you know what I mean? So I remember they went up that Steve Harvey did a joke, whatever, and then they cut the commercial and the TV turned off. And then when the TV turned off, everybody was quiet, like, what's going on? And I don't know why I did this, but I turned to all of them and said, one day I'm going to be on this show. Sorry about that. I just said it. I just belched it out to them. And they all started, yeah, Chico, we heard you. We already know. You know, they were like passive, but at the same time supportive. Yeah. You know, they were like, we know you're gonna do it. We know you're good, man. Get out of here. You know, that type of stuff. So I didn't really think about it. You know, I didn't think twice about it. You know, it's just something that and then now after, I always think back to that. So I want to close with this. To especially my brothers that are in there that are still behind, just hold steady. You know what I mean? Hold steady, because, you know, my brother mentioned something about, you know, how we came to be and I came to be here. But the one thing that he also mentioned was this is a plan from not me or him, but from above. You know what I'm saying? And everything that happened to me was supposed to happen a certain way and at a certain time, so that I can be here and tell this story. And I hope that by telling this story, you know what I'm saying, someone can hear this and be like, I want to know more about this.
Yeah.
And then we can make a change at this place.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we can kind of stop what they're doing. We might not be able to stop it everywhere, but at least we can stop it there.
Yeah.
because I know it's happening.
In Florida.
You know? Yes.
Yeah.
You know, and that's sad that I had to come to Georgia to do this.
Mm.
You know, it's sad. But that's what's happening
It's the reality.
in modern day America. You're not free.
Mm.
You're not free. What I learned when I was in there is that you're not free. When they told you stay inside, you stayed inside.
Mm.
They had to lie to you and tell you it was some sort of sickness so you could stay inside because that's how they convinced you.
Mm.
Yes, they spread a sickness and you got sick. I get it. But it was about telling you to stay inside. At that moment, you should have said, we're not free.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's about control.
Yeah, hold up. I ain't do no crime.
And the mindset did shift a little bit after COVID. There's definitely more people thinking through the news more than there was, but it's not enough to have a conscious impact yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is in small communities, but the world is unaware.
Hey man, listen. He talking about white men taking over. We don't want to hear nothing you say right now. Bro.
I don't like white people telling me what to
You
do.
need to stop talking, bro. Let one of these brothers talk, man.
Hold this
Listen.
cool, man. Hold this cool.
Hold ain't cool, man. Don't get. He's one of them.
Nah.
Consciousness does not see color.
That is true.
Hey man, listen, we appreciate you though, man, for stopping by, man, for sure. And then telling us this story. We're gonna make this go viral, you know, because this gotta go viral. Because what you talking about is important, bro.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
this is definitely the most.
I didn't know it was.
intense
Yeah,
episode
I didn't know it
produced.
was gonna get like that.
Yeah, I told them I was like, I hope they're prepared, and you know, but I wanted you guys to have it. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Oh yeah.
I think, you know, I didn't make the decision. You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
didn't. You know, I know that, you know, it's almost happened a few times,
Mm.
but every time it hasn't happened, I've been able to sit back and be like, it wasn't time yet. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So today was time, like you said, it happened.
Wow.
We were here, and so today was time. So
Wow.
to
We
close my
appreciate
story, I ended up going to the Apollo show, and we ended up
Wow.
winning the Apollo
What?
performance.
Come on now.
that-
What year was that?
in 2021, I believe it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
21.
Yeah, so we went
that's
in,
crazy.
and me and
After
my
COVID, and they told people they had to stop
no, actually, it was after, right after,
wish
right
it-
before COVID,
right before,
COVID,
like
yeah,
right before it got real.
right before COVID, we were in New York. And then the funny thing is that there was a brother on stage with me. We did it actually the week that Nipsey died. We took a Nipsey song, and we remixed it.
Remixed it.
And I had my brother, who was in there with me, by the way, singer, and I believe he's one of the most talented singers I've ever heard in my life.
White.
And he's white, which is crazy. I'm telling you, this guy's a monster. You know what I mean? But he went up there and did it with me, and we remixed a Nipsey song to talk about stop killing our people, and we got the standing ovation. We killed the place out, and it was an incredible experience. But the best part was being able to get on my knees during the performance, right before it ended, and there's a video, and me closing my eyes and remembering where I came from.
Oh yeah, that's crazy, boy. That's a good story, man.
That's beautiful.
Wow. When the book coming out, bro?
I was just about to ask because this would make
Seriously.
a great novel. It
We
would
got to
make
work
great
on a
movie.
series
Thank
too.
you,
bro.
man.
Like,
Thank
yeah.
He wrote like 12 movie scripts.
Yeah,
while he was in
I
there,
have
too.
Oh no,
movies,
we gotta talk, man.
I also wanted to tell you guys that I had, you know, and that's why I contacted Will, and I wanted you guys involved, because I was like, you know, you guys remind me, and I know this is probably telling my age, but I know probably you guys don't
Go ahead.
remember, but you remind me of a more urban Kids in the Hall version. Anybody remember that? You remember that?
No.
It was on like Comedy Central.
Yeah, so Kids
Oh,
in the
okay.
Hall were a bunch of guys that got together from different ethnicities, and they would do like a sketch show like this,
Wow.
but they were hilarious, but they were
Wow.
on edge, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then a lot of the networks didn't want them doing
Right.
it. They came up, they were, I want to say that they were the first one that came up with crank callers, right?
Yeah, it was
Crank
Prank-
Yankers.
at
prank.
the same time.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
it was
Oh, that was them.
That was
okay,
them,
I
yeah.
have seen those.
Okay.
Actually.
yeah, those guys are monsters. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
But
yeah.
they put together, but they're older now. But they
Yeah.
put together. But that's what I feel like you guys are. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
when you guys come in with different impacts, you know,
Yeah.
different comedy levels.
Right.
This is something that's good, man. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like, you know, nurture that. So I
Right.
wanted to do it. I didn't want it to be too serious. So
Yeah.
You guys did.
No.
Sure.
It's we good, man.
Yeah.
But next time, don't contact Will.
Okay.
Contact one of Holden. He's reliable.
Gotcha.
Will is not reliable.
Okay,
You see this?
okay.
He's outside. He would in prison. He definitely wouldn't last. That boy would try to. He would hide in the toilet trying to get away from the.
Give it up for D Block mascot.
All right, man. Hey, man, thank you for tuning in to the Kuttin Loose Podcast. On the next episode, we're going crazy. Y'all already know, man. We started out with a bang in the new studio. So y'all stay tuned. We out.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
We cutting loose.